Hi, I'm Sue. I'm here today with Kavitha and Micheline to talk about the partnership between Microsoft and Zscaler, and to talk about how our cultures have transformed in order for us to do business together better. Well, I have to tell you, I'm super excited about sitting here with two other women.
Well, it's a nice treat to have it as a colleague that I trust and respect, but also as a friend. So it's been a nice little extra special treat for us.
Good. So now I'm familiar with what Zscaler is doing with Azure Active Directory. You're a great partner, but you're doing a lot of other things with Microsoft.
Zscaler has enabled the cloud transformation for companies to adopt faster, more simple, and we provide secure access no matter where they're located, no matter what device they're on. We peer with you as good partners in over 150 data centers across the globe. Together, we're able to provide and bring security closer to the user. We are changing the way network security is managed today.
Kavitha, you were just named as a top woman leader in cybersecurity by Software Report. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So you want to just tell me what got you into that list?
As users are becoming increasingly mobile and as devices are proliferating, so is the sophistication of threat actors that are targeting these users and these devices, and so is the increase in the attack surface. So the need for investment and development around cybersecurity is more paramount today than at any other time before. It's an absolute honor to be part of an organization such as Zscaler, whose absolute mission is to ensure that business can be conducted safely in the cloud and across the internet, protecting users, protecting the organizations so that people can do their best work.
We've really changed the culture at Microsoft about partnering. Do you feel more comfortable now partnering with Microsoft?
We're even more excited than we've ever been internally, but also our customers. We just had a webinar today that hosted almost 2,000 attendees because the entire market is excited about what the partnership is providing to the industry. So our partnership has grown. It's gotten more depth to it. We feel more excited about where it's going, but I feel like there's more to come. Yeah. So we're super excited about it.
I think also there's just such a congruence in value now more than ever before, right? Alignment around how we both care about innovation, care about doing the right things as two companies. So I really see a lot of alignment in our values.
To add, Satya and Jay are the two CEOs. They're similar, I think, in terms of the passion, the focus, and the vision. Very similar in terms of, I was just listening to Satya the other day, just about the digital transformation. It aligns so well with where Jay has taken the company, and we're going to be able to provide our organizations so much more value in terms of how do we enable them to go adopt the cloud? How do we help them simplify to go digital? There's a lot of companies that are not there yet, and together I think there's lots of opportunity.
I'm still at Microsoft after 2 decades because the culture has really transformed from being a computer on every desk in every home, which was a device-oriented mission, to now being about customers. So it really makes it a great place to work. I call it the golden era. It's really been an awesome pivot to be about the customer. And then also how we think about how we partner. And Satya sort of did a hit refresh, if you will, on how we even think about our partner program. We've always been partner-led. We want to be partner-led going forward. That's the ethos of the company, as he said. And it's super exciting for us to have the opportunity to have these types of partnerships that really benefit our customers as well as our companies. I'd like to move now to talk a little bit about what happens every day at the office. It's been a huge cultural transformation at Microsoft for women. What's been super exciting recently is really the recognition that we should just come to work as ourselves and that we can contribute more that way. And in fact, even I'm seeing at industry conferences more and more the keynotes are about soft skills and things that really help everyone be better at communicating and understanding that we need to sort of recognize diversity, recognize inclusion. So I'm curious, what kinds of experiences have you had?
We're a tech company, right? And we're a globally distributed company, so we have employees in many different roles from many different parts of different cultures. And we embrace diversity, right? Diversity helps us build amazing technology. We bring different perspectives to what we do. It enhances every conversation. I think the fact that Micheline and I are here also a testimony to kind of the investment the company has made into ensuring that diversity is represented all the way from our executive team through our organization. But it wasn't always like that, right? The need for inclusion, the need to embrace different perspectives, different cultures, and some of many different parts makes a much better output.
Yeah, I think I read something that was to create a product or a service for a diverse audience requires a diverse team.
I read somewhere at the Harvard Business Review where they said there's two types of diversity, right? One that you're kind of born with, whether it's your ethnicity, whether it's, the color of your skin, or whatever it may be. But the other part is your kind of environment. Did you live abroad? Do you understand different cultures? And companies that have those two, they call it 2D types of diversity. They see 45% was the stat they used in terms of growth year over year, because you're bringing in a different perspective and you're not hiring the same people who look like you or act like you. So that's where the innovation comes in, and especially in our time where cloud is so prevalent and we need to move fast and innovate. But also as leaders, I feel a huge responsibility as a female leader in terms of being that role model and being able to lead within the company. It's a huge responsibility for me. Like, I feel it more than probably the entire company feels it, because I feel I owe it to women and men. I feel it to my entire team because I'm a leader, but we make a huge impact on the little things that we do. Comments that are made that I realize people are watching what we do in a positive way. Like, they thank me because I said something or I did something, and I don't realize the impact that we have as leaders, and it becomes like more of a kind of a weight on my shoulders, and I carry every day, and I hold true, and I think about it every day.
Yeah, and I think what is interesting, we come from a generation where, there weren't many women role models, not many women in tech and in management, and if there ever was that top job, women in our generation clamored for that top job, right? Women were not collaborative. They did not partner. They did not lift each other up, and I think for us together, what we see, what we do, it really brings kind of a breath of fresh air that you can collaborate. There are more roles, and that we can show others that actually uplifting each other is a positive thing. It's no longer competitive, and I think you'll see with this new generation that they are more uplifting with each other, and they're more supportive of each other, which was not the case actually in our generation.
The language that you're using reminds me of the book that was just written by Melinda Gates, The Moment of Lift.
Yes.
It is amazing, and it really talks about lifting women up in the world lifts up society. And I think that's true, that lifting women up in tech brings up the entire quality of tech. And I think we're in a place where that's about innovation and competition and doing the best work that we can, and bringing those extra ideas and people to the table is just simply a good thing. At Microsoft, we were starting to move away from just talking the talk. We had something happen recently where it was Women's History Month, and we had an idea from one of our colleagues to put up a wall and talk about, here's, great women I admire. Another one is, what's my experience as a woman in tech? It turned out that what some people put up as their experience was a surprise. Things that, I'm mistaken for the admin. I'm asked to take notes. I have to keep reminding people I'm technical enough to do this project. Things that were, really eye-opening for some of the people on the team. And it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because it created that way to have a conversation and for people across the board to understand what everyone's experience was, whether it was at Microsoft or somewhere else. But it was like, this is what the experience is like. And that's really opened up a conversation and an awareness that I think is helping us make a difference in how we change the culture. And even something that Satya has just asked the entire company to do is a values training or a values conversation around respect, integrity, and accountability. And so I feel like it's the right time for us to do more than talk about it, but to actually do things. And it's been super exciting and hopeful for everyone. I think that it's going to make it easier for everyone, even if it's the difference between, say, a senior engineer and a junior engineer. There's a lot of other things that don't just fall under the classic definition of gender, and as it might be put in some statistics in a report somewhere. So I'm a voracious reader. I'm wondering what's on your coffee table these days.
Well, my coffee table is more on the audibles. So it's virtual coffee table, exactly. For me, Lean In from Sheryl Sandberg has always kind of hit home. One of our good friends gave me an Art of Innovations book, and it's a really interesting book in terms of how do you inspire innovation. This company it's an agency firm for Apple and for many other organizations where they help drive innovation, and they're constantly coming up with new ideas, and it really helped me approach life and approach my own team in a different way, where we're trying to see how do we quickly innovate and transform as a marketing team.
I'm a little bit more of a traditionalist. I love paper books. I love being able to touch, hold, and read them. And so one of my classics, my favorites, is Legacy by James Kerr. He writes about the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby team that have been champions forever, and draws parallels between kind of the ethos and the culture of the All Blacks and their training, and how that leads, the parallels between that and the business world. And in everything they do as a coach and train newer players, it's all about what the legacy that you want to leave behind will be, right? And so, some of the guiding principles in that book are about humility. It's about coaching and mentoring. It's about changing the game. So just when you're really good and at the top of your game, change the game, right? And so to me, it's been one of those I go back to over and over again.
Excellent. And I'll add one to your list. I am, again, listening. I do audiobooks. Is Invisible Women by Caroline Perez.
Yes, I've heard that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is so insightful to see how we have done a lot of research, and definition of mankind is really being about men and not, about women. And so this notion that as we move into artificial intelligence and into machine learning, making sure that we really represent the world's population as it is, and we don't over-assimilate the data. And it's a fascinating read. So thank you, Micheline and Kavitha, for being here with me today. I really appreciate the time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.